What is up, GOAT World? It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another GOAT format video. This past Saturday, we had PWCQ number 56, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there. But huge shout out to Bluetooth, Scully, Grumple, and the rest of the GOATformat.com staff for making sure that event went off without a hitch. It was stellar from what I hear. I'm going back to watch the stream, and I encourage all of you to do the same. It is live and direct on this channel. For this tournament, we had 56 duelists. 56 for PWCQ 56, I think is pretty cool. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in and check these top 8 deck lists. But as we're hopping in, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe as we're making our way to 10K. And we'll be there someday. Okay, coming in at 8th place, we have the duelist that goes by the name of Water Drinker. Someone new to the scene, a new name that I don't recognize, coming in, playing this lockdown, nasty burn. Water Drinker, bringing the water for the burn. I don't hate it, but this deck is nasty. Okay, coming in with 24 trap cards. That might be saying something a little bit about our metagame, as 24 trap cards wouldn't have been able to get off the floor a couple of years ago because Royal Decree was such a threat. But now Royal Decree is down, traps are way up. So you got the skill drain burn, you got the goblins in the main deck, you have the big shield guardians in the main deck, you have the giant rats in the main deck, etc., etc. Then after the game one is complete, you can now transition to more of an earth aggro, cold wave, stun burn kind of deck. And I think that is really, really cool. Kind of piggybacking on what happened in the previous FLC that just passed. You shout out to the duelist Wolf, one with a very similar concept. Water Drinker kind of built upon that, made it their own, and now you come up with a compilation like this, and I think it is very scary. It looked like it could just steal a bunch of game ones and then hit you with a surprise in game 2 and beyond. So I think this is really cool. Tell me what you guys think about this burn, lockdown, conversion strategy. Conversion might be the play of the day in these PWCQs because you see a lot of conversion techniques coming in. But huge shout out to you, Water Drinker. Congratulations on 8th place finish. Hopefully you keep playing. I like seeing new names out here in the top 8. But a new name I will not see here, as Patrick Zero is on a back-to-back-to-back three-peat topping extravaganza right here. But this time he dipped back into his original bag of playing Dimension Fusion Turbo. Now, when I'm talking about these tier lists and all these other strategies and all these different decks and all these kind of things that Go Format can provide, a deck that I'm always really high on is Dimension Fusion Turbo, and I think it is severely underplayed. Patrick Zero is one of the only duelists that is out here kind of working with this strategy, trying to develop it. I don't see a lot of other top players or any players at all for that matter picking up this strategy, but I do believe in my heart that this deck and this card, Dimension Fusion, has a lot of gravity in this game. It can be played at a higher level, and Patrick Zero is trying to experiment to figure out ways to get this card active. It's one of the most broken cards ever printed in the history of this entire game, and the fact that he's making it work, I think is really, really impressive. But looking at this deck itself, I think the strategy is really cool. Dimension Fusion, Lightning Vortex, very low traps. This deck is the opposite of the deck you just saw before, 24 traps. This one only plays 2. But in the side deck, you still can kind of go to a little transition game, cover more matchups. You got your Scapegoats, you got your Metamorphosis, you got your Spirit Reaper. You do have that one Karibo in there just in case you get into those OTK, Reasoning Gate kind of decks that have been popping up. And you also are playing a triple Royal Decree, so Royal Decree starting to make a return. I think this deck is really awesome. I love it. I like the way that it can just blast somebody out of nowhere. Very cool deck. Main deck Genzo. Love to see it. All right, but huge shout out to you, Patrick Zero. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's even go 4 for 4 in your top performances at PWCQ. Eventually, you will win. It's just a matter of time. Okay, coming in at number 6. And this was Swiss. This was a Swiss tournament. I forgot to mention that in the intro. This was a Swiss tournament. If you are a PWCQ player, or if you are in the Patreon, or if you are a fan and you subscribe, what do you guys prefer? If you guys like a lot more Swiss, or if you like the double elimination, I kind of want to mix it up and do a little bit of both, but I want to hear from you guys. If you are playing in these tournaments, just let me know what you want to do, and we could probably make that happen as we continue on. But coming on in at 6th place, so it's really 4 4th place, 2 3rd place, a 2nd, and a 1st. But I just did it 8 7 6 just because it's easier for me. But 6th place, we got Marvin M4RV1N3 back at it again on the Warriors, making another top performance. Pretty not necessarily standard. You have the Faith and the Spirit Reaper in the main deck. A lot of inspiration, Jonathan LeBounty inspirations and whatnot. 2 Sakus, 2 Dust, 2 Dust Shoot in the main deck. Very cool, very solid Warrior deck. Side deck seems pretty standard as well until you get to this weird Air Knight Parshaft that are just sitting there in the side deck for some reason. I love it. I'm with that. I don't even care why he put it in there. If he said the reason I put this card in there was vibes and vibes alone, I'd be in full support of that. I mean, it's pretty decent against your Reasoning Gate stuff. Obviously, it's going to be great against the GOAT stuff. and maybe just to change it up. But I will tell you this, if you're trying something like that, just be cognizant that literally every person that is going to play against you right now will bring in multiple Zombara of the Dark, maybe even upwards to 3. Berserker Gorillas are coming after you, and they will beat the hell out of this Air Knight Parshaft all day long. So just keep that in mind. And if you can accept that, and you still can rock with the Pony Boy, then my hat's off to you and continue to do that. But I love it. I love seeing him in there. Every time I can see Air Knight in the top performing deck in 2024, I'm all for that. So huge shout out to you, Marvin, for making that happen. And keep rocking it. Keep rocking it, Marvin. Keep rocking it. Grease is all the way up. Okay. Moving on to 5th place. We have another name that I don't recognize too much. I've seen German DLS on the scene for a little while, but I haven't seen him get in the top performance. And now German DLS has broken through, and broke through you did with the second earth-based strategy in the top cut. You know what I'm saying? One was Earth Burn, but now we have Earth, the regular return to the Terra as triple Goblin, triple Rat, triple Zabuza. DD Assailant is going to be in the main deck. Back on Rat, I think that might have been a good call for this event. As you guys know, the PWCQs get very aggressive, and Rats being the good countermeasure to the aggressive might be a good play, as you got triple Smashing Ground is in the main deck, triple Dust, just very, very Earth. This looks like a classic textbook Earth deck. I don't know how people feel about Earth. I think it's a very viable strategy in Go format. I think it's a good deck. It can beat anyone if it falls correct, if it falls right. The games drag on, you might be a little bit disadvantaged, but if everything goes well, this deck can beat you turn 2, turn 3 sometimes, and it is just very oppressive. In the side deck, again, the standard just continues on. Triple Wangu, triple Kaiku, just very consistent, high ratios. Get it in there. Let me see my card, and let's duel. Amazon's Archer is going to be in there as well. So cool Earth deck. Huge shout out to you, German DLS, bringing the Earth back. Let's bring it back. Let's keep the Brown Town around, and it's going to be going down. Okay, moving on to 4th place. We have world's topping Kit is back at it again with a 4th place finish, playing another return strategy, kind of like the deck that Fresh played, but now Kit is back at it again. Got the doubles of Borg, no recruiters, just keeping it, getting busy, no recruiters, not even a lot of warriors. We're just going to get in there, block and tackle, get my return set up, and I'm going to hit you with it. We got the triple Dekoichi, got to play it, triple Spy, got to play it. Ninja Grandmaster, Bazoo is going to be some of your fuel along with your Sork and your BLS, double Zaborg, and we're going to get it in. Zaborg is still great in these decks. You play Spy, you can play Zaborg, get a Zaborg banished with one of your Chaos Monsters, or Bazoo, return, and you're basically on your way right there. You're on your way. You're onward and upwards. Also, the triple Dust Tornado pairs well with Return from the Different Dimension. One thing I will notice looking at this deck, seeing that Heavy Storm in the side deck, looks interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's bad or good. It just looks very interesting to me. That's a feel kind of thing. When you see a player put their Heavy Storm in the side deck, that's clearly a feel thing. That's a vibe thing, because guess what? That Heavy Storm is rarely ever getting a +1 these days, especially in these PWCQs. These duels are very disciplined at the top tables, especially maybe some of the lower rounds, earlier rounds. Some people might get blown out by Heavy Storm for 2 or 3, but at these top tables, it's not going to happen in Go format. Everything is super chainable. So maybe upping the Dust Tornadoes, upping the MST, lowering the Heavy Storm might be the play, because at least you can in-phase snipe, and then you can set the return, vibrate from there. So maybe that's the vibes that Kit was going through in the construction of this deck. But still, I think Heavy Storm, I mean, maybe I'm just a stickler for staples. I'm a stickler. But you got to play it. You got to put it in there. Find a way to get that thing into the main deck, because it could be you can Heavy Storm. Chain Return is one of this deck's most powerful things that it can do, and you're taking that away from yourself in some of your game 1 situations. But side deck continuing on, we got the Blade Knight, we have the Goblin Tag Force, same vibe as that Zaborg. If you get that bad boy banished, return for that 2300. What are we talking about? You have the Hollow Life Barriers, keeping the burn at bay, keeping the Reasoning Gate OTK strategy at bay. I don't hate that either. And then you got the one Zing Zin Who. So just a lot of one-ofs. Maybe that's another strategy. Just your opponent never knows what's fully going down with your ratios. These replays are always going to be open and available. So if you can just have a lot of sacky one-ofs, they're not going to track what you're starting, what you're siding. It's going to be very difficult for them to do. So that might be another PWCQ strategy that's coming that can be exploited in the future. Just one-ofs all throughout the side, and one-ofs all throughout your main, and they can never really track what you got going on, especially in these limited times. But huge shout out to Kit. Cool deck. I like it. Put a lot of thought into this, and I'm glad you got a 4th place finish with it, and definitely Return is going to continue to be played as the season goes along. Okay, coming in to 3rd place. 3rd place, we got the good homie Grace. Oh my goodness, the good homie Grace. back at it again on the Warrior bag, doing his thing, making a third place performance. And I'm sure everyone in Streamtown was cheering for Grace, hoping he could get over and get this dub and get this qualification, but fell short, coming in at third place, playing this 13 monster Warrior deck. Super solid Warrior deck. Can't really say much about the Warrior strategy. You got double Blade Knight. Double Blade Knight is interesting. Looking at it, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right, but it might be right. Warriors, as they can only normal summon once per turn, you want to keep them things as low as possible. That's why they're driving this monster count as low as they can. I think triple Blade, man. I don't know what you cut, but Blade just seems like a Warrior menace. You got to keep him in there. But again, I'm a stickler for tradition, and maybe I need to open my eyes and see what Grace sees. As Book of Moon is in the main deck, the Smashing Ground has returned. Double Trap does shoot. Double Saku. I think that's a vibe. One Upstart Goblin is just so silly looking to me. That just looks so funny. One Upstart Goblin is a funny looking thing. I just don't. Every time I see a one of Upstart Goblin, it just cracks me up. I don't know why. But in the side deck, Grace also decided to get a little swifty with the side conversion situation. As we're going to go, usually people convert from an aggro deck to a control deck, or a control deck to an aggro deck, or this to a that. Grace said, I'm gonna go aggro, and then I'm gonna go even more aggro, over the top aggression conversion. I love it. I think that's so dope, because you're able to take advantage of what they're going to do to you. Because when you play the Warrior Menace, typically you're bringing in Zumbira of the Darks, and you're going to bring in Sakuretsu Armors. That is what the meta is right now. Well, guess what? If you're bringing in Zumbira of the Darks, and I'm bringing in Goblin Attack Force, you're bringing in Sakuretsu Armor, and I'm bringing in Royal Decree. I mean, there is something there. There is some game. There's some meat on that bone. As Grace might be trying to mix it up on you guys, and then maybe even game 2 and 3, you can do like a little amalgamation, just a little heavier Warrior package or whatever, So you can figure something out, and I think that is pretty neat. I would be interested to see what his side plan was, but I'm sure he's going to talk about this in extreme detail on his own GOAT format dueling channel at Grace at YouTube. So obviously go over there and subscribe and check it out and see what he's got to say about it. Or maybe I can get him to come by and he can talk about it. I don't know. We can figure something out. But Grace, huge shout out to you for coming in third place, playing this really, really cool deck, getting your aggro on. Maybe he's just a really competent aggro player. He likes attacking. He likes beating people with monsters, so maybe converting to a go control finesse kind of thing might not be suiting his playstyle. So maybe going from aggro to even more aggro might be the way to go. So huge shout out to you, Grace, for your third place performance. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have Geronimo. Number 7, playing Turbo. Just Turbo. Okay, this is just Turbo. I'm looking at for the heat. The main is very tight, very solid, very rigid Chaos Turbo deck. Okay. Chaos Turbo is going to be what it is. As you guys know, Chaos Turbo is going to reign supreme for probably until this format is not played anymore, but still it's going to be the deck. Main deck looking super standard, okay, by all intents and purposes. Side deck, you got the kinetics in there. You do have that one of cheeky return, and your Hollow Life Barrier and some Sakuretsu Armor is going to be in the side deck. So you're not going Zumbira, you're going kinetic. You're going Sakuretsu Armor, you're going Hollow Life Barrier. I don't hate it. You got Reaper in there, and Mobius, the Frost Monarch, coming in for the second place Turbo deck. I mean, what can you say? Mystical Space Typhoon has been played. I think that's cool. I mean, but other than that, as you guys know, Turbo is going to be Turbo, very rigid. But if you want to play a deck, if you got to buy, like I've been telling people, maybe I'm kind of biased with Turbo because of just my personality or whatever. But I tell people, if you're getting into GOATs and you have very limited funds and you just need to buy a deck to play, I would buy this deck, because you can probably get this whole deck right here that you see on your screen for $50, maybe less. This whole thing, and this is like a tier 0.5, tier 1 deck. So I encourage everyone to try to get this deck, because you can pick it up, and it's something that's great to learn with, and a lot of people can play this mirror. It's got a lot of variety to it, so you can play this mirror and you can have a blast with it. And again, huge shout out to you, Geronimo 7, for your top performance, and I love to see it. Okay, I love to see it. Okay, and moving on again at number 1 for another dub, another win on the season, which is just incredible. Another win is going to be our first place finisher, GFC champion, GFC EU winner, FLC champion, Shonen Jump champion, freaking 9-time PWCQ winner. Alvarado is back in the winner's circle again, and I think these two duels are playing the same deck. Okay, they're playing the same 40 cards in the main. So maybe this is just the best 40 cards in GO format, because 1 and 2 are playing the same deck. right there. So go check the stream out. Just see how that mirror went in the finals of that tournament. But this is hilarious that the two. I don't think that's happened this season so far. That the first two players are literally playing card for card the exact same 40 card main deck. Side deck is slightly different. We have the two Sakuretsu armors, the two Zumbire the Darks are going to replace those kinetic soldiers. You have swords in there. You have the Regeki break in there, and you have the Ashura Priest in there, and the Solemn Judgment. Another thing I think is really interesting is looking at this deck and even Geronimo's deck. They're really he's got the walks here, but this tournament being Swiss, I would figure that more duelists would try to use something to manipulate time. There's not a lot of time manipulating cards in here for Swiss. I thought that's a very interesting find that I've seen, based on what I would assume is that people would have something that modulates time. But apparently it didn't come up. That was plenty. I'm pretty sure everyone finished in time for the most part, and there wasn't a lot of time calls. But still, I thought that's very interesting. He's got no walks. He's got nothing in there to modulate time at all. So I thought it was very interesting to see, at least from my perspective. But again, I can't say enough about this duelist. Like, the run that he's on is very historic, and the run that his dueling organization is on, this Overdose, Rehab organization, Insidious, Alvarado, Don't Copy. Those three duelists have won like every PWCQ we've had in the past 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's incredible. Maybe they know something about this game, or they know they have some kind of inside track, and they're able to attain some type of advantage. And I think that's good for me, and it's good for the community. It shows that skill still does matter. And even if, a lot of people are playing turbo, or a lot of people playing whatever decks, you're still going to have to sit down, and you're still going to have to play, and you're still going to have to outplay your opponent at some point. Because if some person can come in and win every tournament or top every single time, clearly they're doing something that somebody else is not doing. And that goes to say something about this format and about this game. But I can't say enough about Alvarado and his dueling prowess and his organization. I think they got something figured out. A couple of takeaways I've seen: there were no scapegoat. There was very few scapegoat meta in this top performance. That's a little bit concerning for me as well. That's a little bit concerning to me as well. But that's all I have. I just want to do this really quickly. Tell me what you think about the top 8 deck lists. Yeah, maybe we could do something. Maybe we could do something before GFC. I know we have at GGP Atlanta is happening April the 6th. Maybe we could do something before GFC. Maybe that Sunday we could do something. Right now it's looking like the next event is going to be GFC, free to enter GOAT format tournament, massive event. Get out there and play, get your game on, and we will see what it's going to be. But that's all I have for now. As always, I'm JDZ. I play GOATs. Until the next time, shout out to all the real ones. Salute to OGs. Peace.